You know, every Town Hall in Clash of Clans has their own unique experiences, and with that comes different priorities, learning curves, or new features that you may need help figuring out. So today we're going over some helpful starter tips for every Town Hall. Now, if you've already been through all of them several times, you may not find this guide useful. I don't want to waste your time, but you never know, you might find something interesting anyway. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Let's do this.
Town Hall 1. You're not going to be there for more than 2 minutes, but while you're there, the best advice is probably one you've heard before, and it is to save your gems. You don't need to gem everything the villager tells you to, she's just trying to get you on a roll. You'll eventually want to purchase more builder huts, which cost gems, and so if you save them, you'll thank yourself later. Also, the wizards you receive, you only need one of them to beat the first mission, so if you save a couple, it may come in handy for other single player missions. Speaking of single player missions, at Town Hall 2 this should be your main focus. When you start the game, you receive a 3-day shield where no one can attack you, and you don't want to immediately throw it away. Instead, you should be practicing and learning the basics of attacking on these goblin maps, which have more than enough resources to do all of your upgrades. Now, at some point, you will start struggling with these maps. It is then when it is a good idea to break that shield and go into multiplayer. This is also the Town Hall where you unlock starter challenges. The game will walk you through it, so I don't want to do it again, but don't worry about completing all of them before upgrading your Town Hall. You'll have access to all of the challenges until Town Hall 6. At Town Hall 3, you unlock the Village Edit mode. It is this button right here, and this is a great time to play around with it and get familiar with the features. It is also the perfect time to reorganize your base, and the best advice I can give is to centralize your mortar. This is the most important defense you have right now, and if players take it out, they can easily wipe out your base. At Town Hall 4, you get your first Town Hall boost, which runs for 3 days. Now I recommend for you to read what these boosts do, and if you're serious about progressing as fast as possible, you'll want to take advantage of this. Then, as soon as you're maxed, and even before if you're close, upgrade to Town Hall 5. Do not wait. The Town Hall boost will stack, so if you have remaining boosts, you'll have an even longer boost for the next Town Hall. You don't want to waste it. Town Hall 5, it's more or less the same experience as the other Town Halls, but there is one thing. If you're using barbarians and archers, surely by this point in the game you aren't using all of them in every attack, so sometimes when retraining your army you can accidentally end up with way too many barbarians or too many archers. So rather than trying to balance out your armies manually after every attack or having a saved army that looks like this, instead, have a quick train army with anywhere from 5 to 10 of each and train it repeatedly as necessary so you have a somewhat even amount of barbs and archers for the next attack. Town Hall 6, things begin to get a bit more interesting as you unlock tons of features for more rewards, so if you're not in a clan, that is the one thing you want to do. This is the Town Hall where it becomes really important. This is also the Town Hall where you finally unlock that rune in the starter challenges. Now, it may be tempting to use it right away, but I will hold on to it as long as you can, or until you need to claim another rune of the same kind. The reason you should hold on to it is because the value of the rune increases the more storage space you have. At Town Hall 6, loot is easy to come by, so I personally wouldn't waste it on trying to fill the storages at Town Hall 6. You're probably not going to be there for more than like 2 days. It'll be much more helpful when you need tons of elixir later on. But speaking of starter challenges, if you haven't reached the end and still have some rewards that are locked, don't sweat it. Once you upgrade to Town Hall 7, it will automatically claim all of those rewards whether you earned it or not. So don't waste time at this point trying to complete the track, you don't need to do it. Just make sure that if you do want the items, you have the available space, or else they will be converted to gems. Town Hall 7, what a great Town Hall, enjoy while you're there. The first thing you should do is make sure you're protecting your dark elixir with your life. From now on, this is the most valuable resource to attackers. Everyone needs it to buy and upgrade their Barbarian King and other heroes in upper Town Halls. But speaking of the Barbarian King, another tip I have is to make sure the automatic hero KO is turned on in the more settings. This will activate the hero's ability automatically if it's about to die and you haven't activated it yourself. Now, this is on by default, so it should be on, but this setting is available in a brand new account, so there may be a chance that one time you went into the settings and turned it off because you didn't know what it was. Just double check to make sure it's on because this can save your attacks. For Town Hall 8, the best advice I have is to rush to Town Hall 9. No, I'm kidding. Here you unlock the blacksmith, and you may or may not have other options unlocked as well if you purchased them before, or you can buy them from the trader shop finally. But it can be really confusing to know what to upgrade, and ores are scarce, so you don't want to waste all of them. Ultimately, it comes down to you. Play however you feel like it. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But I think anyone would warn you to not bother with the Barbarian Puppet. Even though it's still decent at Town Hall 8, you won't be at Town Hall 8 for long, and it doesn't hold up at higher Town Halls. You should instead invest in the equipment that will remain relevant, which is basically everything else. This doesn't mean that one day it won't be very good, but even after it was buffed, it's just not that good, and your attacks will improve with literally anything else. Town Hall 9, what a sick looking Town Hall, and that's mostly thanks to the walls, right? With that being said, this is the only Town Hall in the game with 2 levels of walls, and while they aren't that expensive nowadays, you certainly don't want to leave them for last, as it can take quite a while. The same thing goes for the Queen. She has 30 levels, which can take forever, so don't wait long to upgrade her, or else your base will be maxed, but you'll still be working on the Queen. A lot of the advice I have for Town Hall 9 is basically just get started on the walls and Queen ASAP. And you know what will help speed that up? A good farming army. If you're still using Barch or Goblins, I recommend to switch to Baby Dragons. They are unlocked at this Town Hall, and they are not only much more efficient, but just generally easier to use. They can even go inside a base and grab storages, and even enough percent to win trophies. For Town Hall 9 and 10, this is one of the best ways to farm. At Town Hall 10, we'll be focusing more on upgrade priority because there's 2 buildings you need to get upgraded immediately. The clan castle and a mortar, just 1 mortar. Upgrading the clan castle will allow you to request siege machines from clanmates, and this alone has the biggest impact on your attacks so far. As for the mortar, this is one of the tasks for unlocking the 6th builder over in the builder base. And if you've completed everything else, you've probably been waiting for Town Hall 10 to max that 1 mortar. This should be your last task. So get it done, don't wait, the builder will come in handy. And hey, I know this next tip isn't particularly for Town Hall 10, but it can help. If you aren't into the builder base and don't care about doing a little rushing, I would rush straight to Builder Hall 10 and start there. As once you unlock the Electrofire Wizard, you're only 1 level away from completing one of the tasks, which can save you over a month worth of lab upgrades. For Town Hall 11, I'm going to start with something you should start doing, and it is upgrading your goblins. If you're a player who maxes your lab before upgrading Town Halls, this shouldn't be an issue, but I know a lot of players, including myself, skip troops they don't think they'll be using. Well, if it sounds like you as well, you might want to get your goblins up right now, because at level 7, you unlock their super variant, which happens to be the best farming troop in the game. Seriously, all you gotta do is drop them on mines and pumps, and getting Town Halls with it is fairly easy, so trophies are no big deal. But this isn't a farming guide, just don't sleep on the sneaky goblins. The next tip is to not get stuck using just Electro Dragons. You unlock them at this Town Hall, and they're so easy and fun to use that a lot of people never stop using them through Town Hall 13, 14, 15, and so on, and never learn any other useful strategies. Now, this isn't a debate on whether the Electro Dragon is a good troop, but this is certainly something that plagues Town Hall 11 and onward players. I just want to warn you to not fall into the same loop. Town Hall 12 is not many people's favorite Town Hall. It has a lot of annoyances, and one of them is that it has one of the largest gaps between time to max the base and time to max the laboratory. It's over double the time. The best tip I can give is to spend raid medals on research potions whenever possible. They're cheap and effective. This only matters if you want to max out completely, so just know that it will take significantly longer than the base itself. There are other Town Halls with similar issues where this tip may help as well, but seeing as Town Hall 12 is basically a giant meme, some players wanted to get it over with as fast as possible. possible, and this is the best advice I can give. Alternatively, if the lab isn't a priority to you, I would focus on magic items for your heroes like builder potions and books. Town Hall 12 also happens to have one of the highest amount of hero levels, so you definitely want to ease the frustrations. Town Hall 13 has a similar problem as every other Town Hall that unlocks a hero, too many levels right off the bat. So my advice, say hi to your Royal Champion. Good. Now say bye to her. She's not totally useless at lower levels, especially nowadays that equipment is a major part of their strength, but she just doesn't have enough HP right out the gate. It will suck because you just unlocked her and you want to use her, but it'll be totally worth it. With that being said, when you get a chance to use her, I'm not a pro at Royal Champion deployment, but a general rule of thumb, you almost always want to deploy her last. Whether that be after all of your troops are deployed or later on in the attack, she is primarily a cleanup hero or a flanking hero. But of course, this is just general advice. If you're following a strategy that says to do otherwise, then I would probably listen to that. Staying on the same topic, if she's targeted by a Inferno Tower set to single mode, do not wait for the auto ability on KO to kick in, as it doesn't give her enough time, and she dies anyway if she has no help, so you might as well use it immediately or freeze that Inferno or something. So just pay a little extra attention to the Royal Champion and where you're deploying her to avoid this scenario. At Town Hall 14, this may be a bit of an obvious tip, but the battle builders, you want to move them inside the base. When I was at Town Hall 14, frequently attacking other Town Hall 14s, and this wasn't that long ago by the way, this was like last year, I was surprised by the amount of players who still had them outside. This may be partially due to the fact that the tutorial pop-up doesn't explain what it is and leaves it up to the player to figure that out. So even though it may be a no-brainer to some players, for those who don't know, they become full-on defenses whilst the builders repair buildings. But because of the small radius, if they're outside, they will be very ineffective and most likely get destroyed immediately before doing anything. The next tip I have for Town Hall 14 has to do with the pets. While all of them can be useful and it's really up to you if you want to upgrade them or not, definitely try and get the pet house to level 4 as soon as possible and max your unicorn, because it's arguably the best and most useful pet you have. It's often paired with the Archer Queen because there is great synergy there, it boosts her survivability, but the choice is yours. All I'm saying is get that unicorn and upgrade it. Town Hall 15 is the most fun I've had in years, and I learned a lot. And by a lot, I mean Root Rider Valkyrie spam. I'm kidding, I learned a lot more. But let's revisit pets for a second. I don't want to tell you what pets should go with which hero, but I do want to make you aware that Diggy becomes one of the best choices for the World Champion, as it can stun defenses that would have otherwise taken her out if they weren't stunned. Like a single Inferno Tower, as we discussed for my Town Hall 13 tips. Diggy can be the difference between the World Champion dying or staying alive for the rest of the match, so I would highly recommend giving it at least a try and see if your attacks improve. You can also finally use the Hawk Puppet for the same reason, as it forces defenses to retarget, and at Town Hall 15, the Spirit Fox is extremely helpful in combating the same issue. But nobody could have prepared me to deal with the Monolith, which can be devastating to your army. The single best thing that helped me almost never have to worry about it again is to carry at least one skeleton spell, and when your army gets close to it, distract it with the skeletons. Now, there are other ways and probably better ways to deal with the Monolith, but I found this to be the cheapest and easiest for me. At Town Hall 16, I want to start by saying what you shouldn't focus on: the Clan Castle and storages. The Clan Castle adds absolutely nothing. Well, there is something. It allows you to carry an extra siege machine, but as you know, we can already carry several of them in battles, so it feels like a pointless upgrade. And the storages, including the Dark Elixir one, are not needed to max Town Hall 16. Now, technically, if your storages are maxed and you use a rune, you get a little bit more value from that rune, but it's not that big of an amount. Let's be real, we're only doing them so early because it looks good in the base. But if you don't care about that early on, piece of advice, if you expect the clan castle and storages to be essential upgrades, they are totally not at this town hall. You'll eventually want to get to them anyways because a little bit of extra HP, but don't be stupid like me and use a hammer on a clan castle that gives you nothing but a new look. The next tip has to do with base building. Typically, we considered archer towers and cannons as the least impactful defenses, so they would often sit outside for one reason or another. But the merged defenses are not the same. You don't want to treat the ricochet cannon and multi-archer tower the same as before. Once you build it, probably look for a new base. The damage they deal is on par and in some cases stronger than some of the core defenses that we're so used to seeing in the middle of bases. Some people even put them next to town halls. Not saying that you have to do that, but they're strong. I suck at base building nowadays, but just make sure that they have similar priority to that of a scattershot or expo. But yeah, those are some helpful tips for every town hall in Clash of Clans. I hope I was able to help at least one person today. But hey, why stop there? I have an entire video worth of useful tips for everyone. So if you need help in your Clash journey, I would highly recommend giving it a watch. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!